everybody, welcome to the Improv Summit. I'm your host, as always, Spencer, and with me today, I have a very special guest. It's Brent. Brent, how's it going?
What's up, y'all? We're in the Improv Summit, or on the Improv Summit, rather. How's everyone?
We're in it too. Why not? We're in a box.
We're in it. What's happening? What's cracking?
Not much. How are you? How are you? It's been a while.
It has been a while. I am good, despite all the ways of the world. I am employed, healthy, hanging in there. I'm out there. We out here. all of that.
Yeah, all that stuff. Yep.
Yeah.
I feel the same for most of that. But yeah.
How are you?
Well, about the same. I feel like it just doesn't feel like it's been almost a year as of the time of this recording that we have been in
Right.
pandemic.
Right.
And I have a lot to say about a lot of people who don't want to wear masks. But I won't get into
Right.
that because that's not what this is about.
Yeah.
But I also like 2020, like January to March of 2020 was probably the best 3 months I've ever had in LA. It was like the best time of my life.
Yeah.
And then it all just kind of disappeared after that.
Same.
So,
Yeah.
but hanging in there.
As you recall, we used to really be out there. We used to actually do comedy in person with troves of people.
Yeah, or at least just some people.
Or at least just some people. Yeah. No, we got troves, dude. We're sold out every night. What are you talking about?
Oh, that show for sure. We got more and more people every week. So for those that are listening or watching that don't know, Brent and I were in grad review together at Second City, and we did Flight Club, and everyone keeps talking about how great it was, even to this day.
Yeah.
So, and that was, believe it or not, we're over 2 years into when we did that show.
Gosh, time flying. Puns, so many puns intended.
Yeah, time flies when you're having fun. Okay. I do a lot of puns on this show, but yeah, the December 18 is when we did that show. So, December 2020 just happened. And I feel like we're out of it. Maybe we're still in December 2020. Who knows? Who knows at this point? We might still be in 2020 for another year. Anyway, enough about the world. Let's talk about you, Brent.
Yeah.
So this whole thing is all about improv. So let's just dive into your improv expertise and your improv background. And speaking of improv background, what is your improv background? It can be as much or as little as you want, but like what is your improv background? Your background in improv.
Let's see. It's 2021. I think I started doing improv. Yeah.
It is. Yeah, it is.
I started doing improv in like 2014 or 15. And I started off at UCB, of all places. And I went through their program front to back. Which I wish I would have taken them a little bit later because some of their, I just felt very green. I felt like a newbie at that time. And I wish I had taken some other, some more approachable schools before I had taken UCB and tried to like wrap my head around game. But anyways, so I did that first. And then I did IO West, which RIP IO West.
RIP, that was the first place I went to.
IO West, I always consider like my family and what really made me like fall in love with improv. It was relatively small. Like the classes and the school were like relatively small, so I met a lot of like really cool people, like a lot of people that I'm still friends with to this day. And there were a lot of teachers that kind of imparted like knowledge that I'll never forget, but just kind of just like burned it into my brain a little bit. Just
Oh
because
yeah.
they were such like great teachers.
Yeah, I remember literally, I've mentioned it on this summit before, is in my 5B class with Holly Laurent, how she talks about, because I was always, not always nervous, but I didn't have as much confidence when I first started doing improv than now. And so I hesitated a lot to jump out and do a scene because I was like, oh, I feel much more confident in the back line.
Yeah.
And then she said, think of it as like a basketball court where if you're in the scene you're on the bench, and when you're in the back line you're actually on the court. And I was like, what? Mind blown. Because in the
Yeah.
back line you're doing a lot more of the work than when you're just like in the scene you can just play. But like
Right.
also like boc, I had him for I think level 2, and the whole like folding your arms in a scene,
Yeah.
like to not do that, to be open and present. And
Right.
like these things, these little tidbits are just like wild. And it's
Yeah.
just it's amazing how much I learned that I took with me to all the other training schools that I went to.
Exactly. And it was just so much, for lack of a description, like bang for your buck.
Mm-hmm.
Even though I was interning, so I was getting it for free.
Hey, me
But
too.
but yeah, I
I still have
interned.
200. I still have 200 credit hours of this.
Yeah. China, we're coming for you. But there was just like a plethora of really amazing, amazing teachers there that I feel very fortunate to have studied under,
Yeah.
from your Brian BOCs to your Holly Lawrence to your Craig Kukowski,
Mhm.
um,
Colleen
Jason
Doyle's,
Colin
Jason
Doyle,
Schatz,
Jason Schatz, who is one
Molly
of my,
Erdman's.
yep. Jason Schatz was one of my favorite teachers. He was just like the scene work guy, still is obviously the scene work guy. And he just like would really like, he wouldn't let anything go past. Like he'd really like, some people were like maybe a little intimidated by him, but
Mm.
like I loved his tenacity for like getting your scene work where it's supposed to go.
Oh yeah.
And
He
I always wanted to get better. Like I always want to get better and to know like I don't want any sugarcoating. Like I want you to tell me like what I'm doing wrong, and I'm gonna try my best to like reroute myself to get better at the thing that I'm not doing
mm,
as good as
mhm.
I
And I'm at I need a tough love kind of situation where like I want you to tell me that I did something good, but I also want you to challenge me.
can.
I don't want you to be like everything's good, you're fine, you're great, keep doing what you're doing. I want someone that's like okay, great. I love when you made this choice, but let's think about doing it like this. And I'm like, "Ah, okay, great. Good idea." That's what I need. And I feel like a lot of improv teachers, when they know that my brain needs that, they're able to accommodate for that,
Yeah.
which is great. And I think off of Jason, I think Jason was one of the best ones to do that because he could tell when like I really got it and when I needed like that little bit of coddling.
Yeah.
And it was great because I never felt like insecure in my choices. I always felt like I made a good choice, but I can make a better choice. And I think that
Right.
that's what I loved, is that it wasn't like I made a bad choice or a wrong choice. I made a good choice. I just have better choices I could have made,
Right.
which I think is a great way of putting it, in the scheme of improv in general.
Absolutely. And so and at IO I formed some of my first like indie teams, um, and that was like my first foray into getting to like play regularly, like in shows in the
Mm,
back in the DCT and sometimes the main stage, and it was just like it was a nice feeling to like be a part of something, with like improvisers that you like and you care about, and like doing shows and having fun. And that's when I first started like making like graphics for like improv teams and stuff like that. We went to a couple like local improv festivals and stuff like that. um, and so yeah, just going back to the feeling of like that familial feel, and going to the bar at IO and just seeing everybody, and just getting super nerding out on improv and
mhm.
just like talking about stuff of the day, but also like improv. It's something I really miss going there and like seeing everybody. And
Yeah.
it's very like, it's a very nostalgic feeling to like think about that and go back to that.
Yeah, and it was a great place to have actual places to actually hang out before or after a show. Because a lot of other places you don't have like the bar, you don't have like everywhere's busy, all the classrooms aren't open, and like there's just nowhere to really go unless you want to go somewhere else. And by the time you leave, a lot of people just kind of disperse. But having
Yeah.
that place where you can kind of congregate and hang out was quite nice, honestly. And then going up in the loft, when I got to host a show in the loft, and
Yeah.
I did it like the week before it closed, so I didn't really get to lift that off very much, but it was
Yeah.
fun because there was no expectation of me bringing people. Like, I was wanting to bring people to see it, but it's a free show, it's casual. The teams that are playing are bringing people, and there was a jam, so it was just like pretty casual, which was great. There was no expectation of
Yeah.
like I didn't have to bring X amount, or I had to pay for the space or do this or do that. It was just like,
It's
hey,
just fun,
yeah. And that
and
was great. It wasn't, it was promoted, and then I did a show on the main stage, and that was kind of rough because it was on like a Monday night at 11. It was like Monday night at 11, and so people like dipped out right
yeah.
after. People just, I was like, "There's a show going on if anyone wants to come in and watch." And there were like 3 people in the audience. It's like cool. It was a Halloween special and everything, but that was the beauty of it, is it was seeing what worked and what didn't. And I mean, 11 o'clock on a Monday is a hard sell, but
It is. The cool thing though too is like, even if there's nobody there, even if you're doing improv, you can still kind of feel if it's working or if it's
hmm
not, even
oh
if
yeah.
if isn't somebody in the audience. I used to love the jams when there were like students and like veteran improvisers,
Mm-hmm.
and you would just like watch the moves by all different types of people, and like you would see what worked and what it didn't. I used to love going to like shows like Cook County Social Club,
Yeah.
and I would always try to just like pick out a couple moves that they did and try to recreate that in my shows.
Mm.
And to be honest, I would shoehorn them in like unnecessarily sometimes just
Yeah,
to try
sometimes
it. Like
sometimes
for
it
instance,
doesn't work.
I saw well, I saw one of the Cook County guys do this it was a desert scene, right?
hmm
And he did he acted as a tumbleweed. So he rolled across the stage like a tumbleweed,
That's
and
awesome.
it got this um, big applause. And then I copied the same exact move in one of my shows because it was a desert scene,
That's
and
so
it got a
funny.
huge applause.
That's so funny.
And I was like, I almost felt like I like won the show because I did this move, although I completely jacked the move. But also in a way, it's kind of like that's almost like what all art is like paying homage to people that you look up to and admire. And it's like if I could do some of those moves half as good as some of those people, it gives me a little flame in my lamp.
Mm, mm. I
You
love
know,
that. Yeah, I love that. Yeah, just getting that kind of spark, I guess, a little bit
I
of
just
a.
love doing inanimate objects. I don't know.
Well, it's fun because I know, like I was doing I was working with kids, and one of the suggestions that we had, I was co-leading with someone else, and she said, I want them to like not play animals, like or people or animals, let's have them play inanimate objects. So the game was that they were doing scene painting, but even if they said characters, they had to play inanimate objects in all the scenes based on it. And it was really great because they were like the sand or like the ocean wave or the mist that was blowing through the beach. Like, I mean, it was great to see that. And what I love about that is playing inanimate objects is I'm not an inanimate object. So getting to play one is really fun because it's not who I am.
Right.
At least I think, I don't know. And then two, it is something that's often forgotten in improv is because people want to play humans, they want to speak, they want to do all of this. And like as an inanimate object, I can be like, I'm just thinking a candlestick, like in Beauty and the Beast,
Right.
that's like, oh yes, I'm a candlestick from Beauty and the Beast or whatever. But
Yeah.
because I guess all candlesticks are French. That was my point.
Yeah, exactly.
Um, but yeah, so I think that that's a good point about inanimate objects being fun when you really, if that's your thing, like they can be super fun.
Yeah, and
So I think,
some of the like, it just adds some dynamics to the scene too. It's
mhm,
like some of the most fun scenes that I've seen from like veteran teams are when the guy's playing like a scarecrow or something,
mhm,
like in the field, and like he's like the creepy scarecrow, and like everybody's just laughing throughout the whole scene because
yeah,
these two characters are doing the scene in front of the scarecrow whose eyes just like keep watching them, and it's like so simple, but yet it adds this dynamic aspect to the scene that
mm,
it's like a TV show or something comical that people would want to watch. And
yeah,
it's fun for the actor too. And
mhm,
it's like that's how I always wanted to approach improv, is to do whatever's fun and do things, or be a chair and like let somebody sit on you, or we always did these exercises, these warm-up exercises where we're furniture or like scene paint and like paint the room, and somebody's a chair, somebody's a mirror, I don't know. um but yeah, you got to make it fun for
yeah,
yourself.
for sure. If you're not having fun, it's not something you're enjoying. I don't know. I was trying to figure out a phrase to finish that, and then it
Nah,
just
that was
didn't.
good, that was perfect.
If you're not having fun, then it's not something you enjoy. Um, anyway, but going off of that with the whole scene painting as warm-ups, kind of leads me into my next question, sort of, kind of.
Yeah.
Are there any favorite warm-up games you have that you like to play before a show? Or are there any like favorite like improv games or any style of improv that you really enjoy playing or that you kind of go towards more than others?
um Ooh, man, I should have thought of this beforehand.
Improv. Just kidding.
I I the yeah, I always found it a little absurd, but I always loved mind meld.
I love Mind Meld.
Um,
Very low stakes, but
I
also very high stakes.
yeah, I never. People just got so into it. I never. I don't know if I ever believed in like the. Um, I don't know if I believed in the beneficial aspects of it to like scene work or like improv. Really, I know
Mhm.
people like do, but it was just fun.
I love that game.
Um, I don't know. List some warm up games, and I'll tell you if
I
they.
mean, I don't know. I like Hey Fred Schneider, What Are You Doing? That's a fun one.
Oh yeah, that was
But
good.
I'll tell you one that like kind of bugs me in a way, and like it's tape ball. I like I
That's a very Second City.
it's IO. We did it at IO a lot too,
Oh
and
no, that was a
so
Holly. That was a Holly one
it
too.
was a Holly thing. I love Holly, but man, tape ball, like I get what it was for, but
I
again,
don't really
I can't
get.
see out of one eye. So having tape ball was
Oh yeah.
very difficult for me because I'm not about to hit that ball at all.
I really liked like the three line
Mm,
opening, like scene starting, because I
yeah.
felt like that was just the precursor to a scene. It was just like the foundation of a scene. Like, so
Hmm.
one person starts something, the next person responds, the next person has to respond to what they said, done.
Hmm.
And that is, it's just the basis of a scene, and it's like getting
Yeah.
people in the mode and ready to start and be ready for what's thrown at them, and also trying to like come in with an emotion.
Yeah.
um,
And I also love that one, but I also love it when it's like, okay, you're going to start, give a terrible initiation, do something that's absolutely bonkers awful,
yeah.
and do it like with that. Or it's like if you have this funny joke, think of your funny joke now and do it. And it's interesting to do that because I love that because it's like I can literally say anything right now, and I know that my job is to say something that is not a good initiation. So that way I can kind of get it out of my system and like kind of vomit it out early on. So when I go do this show, I know that like I know when to make solid choices and what initiations to be offering or receiving or whatever the case is. And so I love those where it's like, I'm telling you to break the rules of improv for this. So please
Right.
break the rules. And it's like, what? Like, it's like you break down. It's like a robot that breaks down.
Yeah,
Like,
and
break the rules. What?
on that point, like going going back to Cook County, which is like, just for the record, is probably my favorite
Mm.
improv team to watch of all time. They would always they would start at the very top of the scene. They would say like the most absurd thing ever of all time, and then find a way to ground it like as they progress. Like, not to make it more absurd, not to make the absurdity go like this, but to go from here and go grounded. And I always found that so like hilarious, but also like very like high skill set improv. Like one time I was watching this I don't know, somebody gave like a suggestion of like Death Row or something. And Brendan goes at the top of the scene, he goes, Suge Knight killed my dog. Suge Knight killed my dog. And he ended up being like some like, the character was like some Beverly Hills housewife. And Suge Knight, he thought that Suge Knight like killed her dog, but then he didn't, and it was just like a tale of like arguing like an arguing married couple or something. But like, just to see, and that's kind of like a testament of like what you're supposed to do in improv is like, if somebody says something like super crazy, justifying it and like and grounding it somehow in reality.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes when we're on stage and we're like not the most confident, it's easy to let it spiral out of control and like let it go into super crazy town and off into space, and there's like aliens riding in Teslas and all that other stuff. But it's like the thing that you need to do is to ground it and bring it back to reality. And I always thought that they did that really well. And as I was studying, like I always wanted to try to be more in reality.
Mm-hmm. I love that.
But still make it fun. Still make it fun, you know.
Oh yeah, for sure. If you're not having fun, then it's not for you. What did I say? I don't even remember what I said. But if you're not having fun,
yeah,
then it's not for you.
Fun, not for you. Yeah. That should be like the improv summit.
Trademark.
That should be, if you're not having fun, it's not for you.
I think I'll just edit. Look, I know you do graphic works. I did this. And
That's
people
good.
are like, and then people go, I can tell, and I'm like, yeah.
I love it.
I mean, it's
is
simple.
that Comic Sans MS?
I don't think it is actually. I think it's chalkboard. It's chalkboard.
Oh, I like it. I like the colors.
Which is, everyone says they like the tilt of the.
I do like the tilt of the.
And I was like, you know what? No one's done the Improv Summit. I've looked it up. So I was like, I'm going to be the Improv Summit. But then if there is another one, then I can be the Improv Summit as opposed to the.
You should have like a blue outline of a mountain like behind the text.
Oh, that's a good idea. I actually have drawn something like that for another company that I work for. So maybe I will just take that idea and
like Improv Summit should blend into the.
I could put the mountain in the U. Put it in the U. The Improv Summit. Oh wait, there's
you could. That's upside down, but
I can't. Whatever. The point is, no. Where's the U? There it is.
That's the U.
Anyway, enough about the background. Let's move into. We talked about it a little bit with like IO being a place that kind of helped you along in your improv journey. But what drew you to improv in the first place, and why did you continue to like take classes or do teams, beyond teams, do shows, do teamwork and all that kind of stuff?
That's a good question. I initially, me and my good friend Preston, who we drove out here together, we were really interested in doing a web series. Like a lot of like young aspiring actors want to do, and we were doing it with this actor who she had a lot more credits than us at the time, which we really didn't have any at that time. And we were like doing a table read one day, and she was like, "You guys ever thought about taking acting classes?" and we were like, not even thinking anything about it, but we were like, yeah. And she just like, no, she's super nice, but she just gave us like a list of stuff, like acting classes and other stuff for us to take. And it was like scene study classes, like cold read classes, improv was one of them. And I think I just like took that list and I was just like researching one day, and I like UCB popped up, and I just didn't have anything to do at the time, and so I just randomly on a whim signed up for a class, and kind of the rest was history. And if I think back to it and like growing up, I've kind of always been doing improv. Like if I think back to like middle school and stuff, it's almost like that when you come up with like a funny idea with your friend, it's like, oh, this bullfrog's like riding a motorcycle or something, and you guys are just like vamping back and forth and you're like talking, and then like that funny idea like escalates and escalates, and you guys are like having this like stupid funny conversation, and it's like and like I've always done that with my family and my friends, just like expounding on kind of like absurd ideas. And I didn't realize that or think about that until later, like in my improv thing. But like, yeah, I've always kind of done it, is just like thinking about these funny abstract concepts and kind of like elaborating on them. So like when I first started taking the classes, I think that's why I was just so addicted to it, because this thing that I had been kind of subconsciously doing my whole life, I finally got to do with people in person, like creating like real acting scenes. And, you know, like improv's not easy.
Really. No, it's not. People think it is. There's nuances
actually really hard. There are so many nuances and there's so many layers and so many levels. And that's why people say like at first you're so addicted to it, and then you get into it and then you realize it's not that easy. And then you hit this like wall, and you're like, oh dude, I don't know, like this is actually hard. And then you start to get a little bit better and you start learning like little tools and skill sets, and you're like, okay, like I can still do this and I can get better at this. And that's kind of what happened, is that, you know, I found it, I fell in love with it, I realized that it was like actually something that you had to work at, and then I started doing that, and then I started like really enjoying it and really appreciating it like as an art form. And yeah, so like I took that first class at UCB, and then I went through the program, super newbie, and like people were probably frustrated with me because I was probably like a ball hog in scenes and like didn't get it. But then I went to like Iowa West and kind of that kind of changed my perspective and made me be more of like a team player, like in an improv sense. And also like it, like improv made me a better person, because it made me care more about people, like you should in scenes. You know, like you don't want to be a dick in scenes because it's going to be a bad scene. You also don't want to be a dick in real life. So like to that extent, it really like humbled me as a person, and it like made me think about the way that I act to people and see things from people's perspective
Mm,
and realize that it's like not all about me.
mm-hmm.
And the point that I start making it about the other person, then that's when the scene starts to lift off.
Mm, mm-hmm.
And it's like when you make the scene about the other person, then they want to start making the scene about you. And then you guys kind of come together in that.
Yeah, that's
Um,
great.
and yeah, and so and then I went through IO and graduated there. Um, and then I went to Second City. And Second City was where I really felt like I really started feeling like I was good.
Mm, mm-hmm.
Like IO really made me care and feel and fall in love with it. Second City was where I really started feeling like I started like feeling confident in myself, like as an
Mm.
improviser and a performer.
That's great.
And
Seeing the
and
growth
and
is
stop
important.
having like inhibitions of like, oh, am I like not good enough? Am I this and that? I'll just be. And also, I credit the great teachers at Second City too. You
Mm-hmm.
know, you have your Jamie Moyers, you have Jenna Jolovitz, who one of my favorite teachers of all time, just like crazy, uh, super stringent, but like a great, also great scene work person.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Doug, um, just a lot of great teachers. And yeah, and then that was kind of like my first foray, like in the sketch too, like
Mm-hmm.
the improv, the sketch thing. And then I was like, hold on, I might like sketch more.
I think I'm still improv at heart. I think that's where I lie. I think I'm more improv than sketch, but
I'm probably like a little bit of both, but I like that process of like writing and using improv as a tool um,
mhm.
to create a show.
Yeah, I loved the re-improvisation classes.
Yeah,
I thought those were probably almost my most favorite. Almost my most favorite. Because it allowed me to improvise, but also take the great moments of those improv scenes, which I don't remember once I do them at all. What happens? So someone
yeah,
like, "This was great. I loved it when you did this." I'm like, "Oh, cool, great. I love that too. That was awesome. I'm sure it was. I don't remember, but okay."
yeah.
And it's like, let's do it again. And it's like, one, yeah, I'm excited about doing it again, but two, I'm like, wait, what did I just do? I don't remember what I did. But it's fun because it's basically giving me another chance to do the scene and like
Yeah,
make things even better the second time, which was really fun,
yeah,
I think.
yeah, and exactly, because like there's a lot of times you get out of an improv show and you're like, oh, I could have done this, I could have done that, and then it's giving you that opportunity to go back and revise or reprise it. And
Hmm.
there were a couple of like some really funny things that I'm glad that I got to explore more. And I love the thematic elements all intertwined with like improv and sketch and like the conceptual aspects about it. Um, it was just like it was a really great like creative time, and made me it really made me like believe in myself and believe that I could like create shows, and if I wanted to like write a show and put it up and create it was a possibility.
Mm-hmm.
And I hope that we can one day do that.
Yeah, we have to do a Flight Club reboot. Flightier Club. I don't know.
I
Yeah.
miss everybody so much.
Yeah, there's a lot of good stuff. You kind of touched on both of these, but I'm going to group them both together, and then you can just answer them separately if you want.
Sure.
But what to you makes a successful improviser, and also what elements of improv have you used in a non-performance, non-entertainment aspect of your life?
Oh, that's a good question. Um, Successful improviser.
And that can be whatever that means to you.
I think in the beginning, I always wanted to be on a main stage Herald team. Like that was the like end all be all, and like all the people that, especially at IO, that were on main stage Herald teams, I was like, gosh, these people are like so talented. Like they were just like otherworldly good to me. Most everybody, and that was like my vision of like improv success. Um, and like I got on some of the like B squad teams, like like
JV,
like DCT teams and stuff
yeah,
like that. Because
the JV teams.
let's be honest, like to make like a main stage Herald team, it's very difficult.
It is very difficult.
There's a lot of variables that come into play, and the people that have to make the decisions on that stuff, it must be actually super super tough.
Also, it's improv. How do you judge improv? Like it's like how?
And yeah, I mean, exactly. Like, how do you judge improv? But also, like, how do you know it's not that person's just nerves at that?
Yeah, that's the thing, is how do you know that it's a good improviser with an off day versus an off improviser with a good day versus an improviser who's not strong enough?
And to that end, like, I think the more you do it, the better you get at it, and like the less your nerves are. But anywho, like, yeah, so like before, when I like got close on those auditions and didn't make it, I'd get down on it. But over time, I was like, that's not the end of the world. And success for me as an improviser is more so just being able to do it, frequently. And the fact that I even made DCT teams like was a success to me. To be in Hollywood and like make a DCT team and like a theater.
You've made it in Hollywood. You made it on a DCT team and a improv company.
to have
but yeah, it's taking the little wins, because it's like a JV team. Like, in order to be on varsity, you got to start with JV.
Exactly. And there's a lot of these people that are on the main stage Herald teams that are on regular television shows, and they've been doing this for like 20 years and stuff like that. And it's like,
I had that when I literally was like, I went to go do an improv scene, or like an improv like jam or whatever, something. It was some people, and I was looking around me. I was like, why is everyone so good? I feel like I'm so bad at this. And then I was looking around. I was like, it's because these people have been doing it for 10, 15, 20 years. So in 10, 15, 20 years, I can be there. But now that I like, this is like, 2 or 3 months into improv, I'm like, why am I not this good? But also, I have to look at the fact that I've been training for 2 or 3 months. These people have been training for 10 or 15 years. That's a big difference. And so, maybe in 10 or 15 years, reassessing, like, if I'm not there, that's also okay. But as long as in 10 or 15 years, I'm way ahead of where I was at the 3-month level, then that's successful.
Yeah. And it's also, and I try to do this not with just improv, but everything is like, it's not just the end goal, it's the process, and it's the journey. It's like, if you're on that main stage team, it's like, then what? It's the journey, and it's the process, and it's enjoying like being in the moment. You could have maybe more happiness being with an indie team of people you love than being on a main stage team of people you hate. And it's like, you gotta see the positive parts of things.
Or like, if you're auditioning for a Herald team, but you don't like doing Heralds, then
that too.
Again, if you're not having fun, then you're not. I don't remember what I said. Again, if you're not having fun, then you're not. It's not for you. You're not. I don't remember what I said. Something like that.
But yeah,
I improvised it, and I forgot what I did. Like I said, I forget my improv.
But yes, but like I said, when I got to Second City, I felt I felt capable of like doing scenes successfully
Mm,
a lot of the times, and that was I was very very happy with that. You
mm,
know,
mm-hmm.
like I felt like anytime I walked out, like I could do a successful funny scene with somebody, and that's my idea of being a successful improviser is being able to like take anything that's thrown at you or any scene partner and making it funny and making it fun. Um,
That's great.
and that's basically it.
Yeah, I mean that's
What was the second question?
uh an element of improv that you used in daily life that's non-related to acting or improv or entertainment or
Oh
anything like
yeah.
that.
Huh.
For like, the 9 to 5ers who are like, I don't know why I need improv in my regular business
Yeah.
life, or for people who may wonder like what they can gain from improv if they're not an actor or a performer.
Yeah.
Just like
Uh,
anything.
I think I think just doing improv kind of like took a lot of the stress away from my
Hmm.
life. Like kind of
Hmm.
just being able to roll with things. Whereas
Hmm.
before, if there was something in my life that I didn't um, like or agree with, I would butt heads with it and say no and hold on to it and like just put up a wall and whatever it was. And now I can take like obstacles and things that I so-called don't like in my life and kind of just like take them and like internalize them and kind of just like eschew it and not let it affect me so detrimentally. Um, and yeah, and even going back to like auditions and stuff like that, not taking rejection so harshly. You know,
Mm-hmm.
I'm the type of person like before like rejection, I would think about it for like a week. You know,
Hmm.
I would stew on it and I would stew in it and just like it was an improv audition or a regular audition and just like, oh, why didn't I do this? How did I do this wrong? What did I do this? What did I do this? And now I kind of just let it be.
Hmm.
And especially now with everything going on, it's like people have to love themselves and practice self-care.
Hmm.
And I can't waste time worrying about what I did wrong or what's bad that's going to happen. It's like I have to take each thing that happens as kind of like a little learning morsel
Mm.
and figure out, okay, this happened this way. What can I do differently if I want to have a different result?
Yeah, it's
Um,
true.
and yeah, so I don't know when it happened, but like a few years ago, I just started feeling like kind of zen, and I like this like feeling that I have now because like I don't get like overly happy and I don't get overly sad. I just feel like kind of zen and like things that happen and even especially everything going on right now. I just feel like kind of what will be, and I try to um, take care of my mind,
Mm.
emotions, and body, and not get too way out in any form or fashion.
I love that.
And I do think that improv like had something to do with that. It's for some reason it had me be more conscious of um, how I am in my mind, and I try to be kind to people too, you know, because everybody's like hurting right now, and people just need like a kind word.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it goes a long way.
Yeah, that's great.
Hermit sips tea.
Oh yeah, it's all good. So when I'm not saying when now. I don't know why I said when. You got me. You got me in the zone. Now I'm like. Uh, Now I just have a couple more questions. This one is just basically, do you have any plugs or pitches that you want me to, or that you want to announce to the viewers and the listeners that will be watching or listening?
Sure. Yeah, I've been doing a lot of music stuff lately. Follow Brent Trueblood on Spotify and SoundCloud. So all my music, I do a lot of hip hop, electronic, ambient, chill wave stuff. Yeah, greatly appreciate it. Um, looking. Follow my man Alex Denny's podcast too, Island Life with Alex Denny. I'm on there a bunch, so I'll plug that. Shout out to Alex. Yeah. Anyways.
Great. It's just funny that you said that, because I remember I was interviewing someone, and they were like, and they were on my podcast, and they were like, I was like, do you have any plugs? They're like, yeah, Spencer has a podcast. I'm like, they know I have a podcast. Like, I put it in the link every week. It was
I
just
don't
funny.
have that many friends.
I just no one's listening. No, just kidding. We're getting a little bit of buzz, but yeah, it was just funny because I was like,
We're buzzed.
I was like, don't worry, I've got that covered. It's all good. But no, I appreciated it, because I don't think he would have said it if he didn't actually enjoy the podcast. So that's good. Well, we have come to our last question of the day. It's the big question. The reason why I'm doing this whole improv summit with the slant. Oh, geez, this is where my visual impairment. I can't. Anyway, we've come to the final question of this improv summit for today, which is the big question that I prepped you on prior to this, so you would have a chance to think about it. And the reason why I'm doing this improv summit in general, and it's pre-pandemic, but even now during these pandemic times, people, are emailing me or texting me or come up to me when, we could be in person with each other and closer than 6 feet together. And they would say, Spencer, where should I take improv? You take a lot of improv. And it was very hard for me to answer that question, because I think there's a lot that goes into finding the right improv for somebody. So if someone came up to you and was just like, hey, where should I take improv? What is like one piece of advice or one tidbit that you would give them to help them start their improv journey?
Totally. I can absolutely guide people on this, as I've taken improv at most of the schools, except for Groundlings, although I do know about them as well. I would really encourage people to do the research on the different philosophies of improv that come from each school. And what major improv schools in LA? Let's talk about it. We have the Pack, we have Second City, we have Groundlings, No More Iowa West,
UCB still exists.
UCB, and are there
Impro? Impro's another one.
Impro, and then there's a couple other small schools. Probably
I think Ruby
Ruby
still exists.
I think they have. Are they down in downtown now? Even though stuff's closed.
I'm not sure.
So I'm not
sure anymore where anything is.
Yeah, I'm not going to go through each of the school's philosophies specifically, because that would take too long. But they all kind of fundamentally differ, and what each school's philosophy has to offer might be more akin to what you're looking for. So as opposed to arbitrarily kind of just like picking a school like I did in the beginning, it might be serve you more to do research on each school and what it's about, what their like mission statement is, and what their improv philosophy is. I'm a little biased, and I would say take a class with the Pack or Second City, because of their teachers alone and how long they've been teaching and the caliber of teacher and like what their like how their course study is. But also the Ruby's great, Impro is great. UCB has great teachers. It's just a huge school, and sometimes it's easy to get lost, like in the school of fish, from what I've experienced and what other people have told me. But they have great teachers as well. Improv theater is narrative improv, so you're gonna get more like specific themes and styles of improv. That might be what you want to. Um, but like I said, if I was a young actor or starting off improviser, I would start at the Pack or Second City personally. But to reiterate, everybody's different. Everybody has a different like end goal or what they're trying to achieve within comedy or their acting career. So do your adequate research, and it'll go a long way.
That's great. Yeah, just take a look. And I would even also throw in like when there's, I mean, right now online shows or in shows in person, go see shows, see what makes you laugh, see what you find interesting and funny,
Exactly. Yeah.
and alumni that have come out of these different programs. Like,
Yes.
who are alumni that you enjoy watching on TV? Who are the people that you enjoy what they write about? Like all those kind of things is something to also kind of gear your mind towards as well.
Exactly. Very well put.
All right, Brent. I lied. I said that was the last question I had for you today. But I have one more question.
Okay.
And that is, would you like to do some improv?
Sure.
All right. Sailor and a lighthouse keeper? Or a kid and a parent?
Definitely sailor and lighthouse keeper. The air, the wind, 40 knots, south.
Aye.
Back in me day, boats, they didn't come round this way. And now, all the boats, they come twinkling round the rocks.
That's a pretty solid light.
It's me grandfather's and his grandfather's before him.
Runs in the family.
How'd you like the gift shop?
I mean, it wasn't quite to my liking, but the light itself is incredible.
Did Nancy give you a coupon?
Yeah, I received one. I just didn't find anything in there that I needed.
Maybe you should check again.
I just walked out. Unless you restocked in the last couple minutes, I really have nothing that I need.
We restock pretty frequently.
Is that right? On this island lighthouse gift shop, there's the trucks are just coming in and out.
So you come from Cambridge, do you?
Massachusetts.
Heard there's
Yes.
nothing but Willies and Wonkas there.
Yeah, a bunch of wieners too.
Are you getting fresh with me, boy?
No, there's a lot of hot dogs.
You know, back in my day, we would fight krakens every weekend for breakfast.
The mythical creature?
Not so mythical. That's what people think. And now we got sailors coming in here as tourists every weekend, not accepting the coupons, just coming in and out, just creating a spectacle of the whole thing.
I mean, honestly, it's really just because of the light. Like the light's supposed to help guide us. So I really just needed to see the light.
I lost both my fingers.
To a mythological kraken?
To a leopard seal. 2 leopard seals.
I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah, me too. Hey, I don't mean to be so contentious. I just, an old man holed up in the lighthouse. These young spry whippersnappers come through, poking their head about. You get it.
I'm glad you call me a young spry whippersnapper. I'm but 43 myself.
You must use a lot of whale blubber on your face.
No, I don't. I just travel to sea and back a lot. I get a lot of sun, a lot of beta carotene.
Are you in the program?
I'm an independent traveler.
Ah, smart. You got a young filly?
I'm sorry, what?
Do you have a young filly, a young lady in your life?
No, just me right now. Just me. Traveling to my heart's content, my heart's delight. And your light, your delightful light.
Have you accepted the Lord Jesus as your Lord and Savior?
I'm not there yet. I don't think I've fully accepted it yet. I'm like teetering.
When the rapture comes, you're gonna wish. You're gonna wish and you're gonna want to hope and pray that you have the blood of Christ in and on your hands.
Okay.
Because when you're neck and neck with a giant squid and his beak is about to claw at your neck, you're gonna be crying out for your mammy, and your mammy's gonna be crying out for you. And you're gonna want to feel exalted in that time, place, and moment to have repented, have the Lord Savior Jesus, the blood in and on and around your hands, to have repented in this year of our Lord, the year of the rabbit.
I'm sorry, can you go back? Did you say that the squid has a beak?
Yes, all squids and octopuses, they have beaks underneath. That's their mouth. That is common knowledge.
I've never heard of ocean animal.
What kind of sailor are you?
Just an independent one.
Are you a Russian spy?
Do I sound like a Russian spy?
You sound like what a Russian spy would sound like if a Russian spy wasn't trying to sound like a Russian
I knew you were going to
spy.
say that. I knew you were going to say
I knew that you were going to say that. I knew that I was going to say that.
I knew this was happening. It was going to happen.
I knew that you knew that I knew that this knew that it was going to happen.
I'm not a Russian spy.
I'm not a Russian spy.
I didn't ask you.
I didn't ask you.
You did ask me.
Okay.
Now I'm concerned that you're a Russian spy.
Am I?
That's what I thought you were going to say.
Now I'm in a hyperloop.
Okay, scene. Thanks everyone for coming to the Improv Summit. That's Brent. I'm Spencer. See you next time. Bye.